When you hear Jonah, you think storm, giant fish, runaway prophet. But this story is really about a God who never lets go. From calling to disobedience, from despair to anger, God never left Jonah. And that same God is with us, gracious, compassionate, and overflowing with mercy. Life can make that hard to believe. Sin, pain, unmet expectations, and silence can turn our hearts away from him. We've all felt Jonah's highs and lows, knowing God's call yet running from it, tasting his goodness yet hiding from his presence. Jonah 4 reminds us, even after rebellion and frustration, God responds with patience and love. The danger is letting our hearts redefine who he is. We start asking, why God? Where were you? But he invites our honesty. Jonah wrestled in anger, Jacob in fear, Job in grief, and even Jesus in the garden. But that's not weak faith. It's real relationship, because it's better to wrestle with God than run from him. In the wrestling, we're still turning towards him. And when we do, he's always gonna meet us there.
So I think in this moment, when you read through this story, whatever is fueling Jonah's wrestlings, intentions, and frustration with God, it is because he is demonstrating character that I would suggest is opposite of the character of God.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, well, what does that like mean for us?
Yeah.
Well, I think a couple things here. Number one, and you guys can respond to this with questions or take it one way or the other. I think we're given a blueprint. So like the character of God is not like abstract, right? Like it's real, it's personal, it's in the form of Jesus. So it's not just this like theoretical, conceptual thing. No, this is like a pattern that we ought to follow. It's what the Spirit is molding us and transforming us into.
Yeah.
And so it's not just like a lofty goal that, like, no, this is an invitation, you know, and we see this evident in the life of Jonah, you know, because he was giving the gospel to a people that needed it. So those traits are true in his life. So there's like, okay, how are we made more into that image? But then I think there's also an interesting part here that we can maybe like look at as well, and that God allows Jonah to dialogue with him. And God allows, so I think what's fascinating about Jonah's last statement, that he's relenting from disaster. So I think what's interesting, like, I think, you know, culturally speaking, questioning our authorities is, you know, like, I'd say maybe now more than ever, there's space for it. There's you know, it's welcome in a right time, in a right space, in a right way. But like all of us have experienced moments where when we question why our authorities do what they do or say what they say, or you know, we question them, there's a genuine fear, like, will I lose my job? Will I be scorned? Will I be shamed? Will I be punished? Like, what will happen if I give feedback that isn't great?
Yeah.
And what I love about God, like, and you see this all over the Psalms, is he gives space for us to wrestle with him.
Yeah.
Even in areas that feel like, to some degree, forbidden.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what I think is happening here. Here's a forbidden, like, not just like, like he's saying, God, how could you? Like, how could you help these people that are our enemies, that are not deserving, that like deserve your punishment, but you give grace? Like, I told you. Like, how could you do this? And not just how could you do this, how could you even use me?
Yeah.
Like, I tried to get away.
Yeah.
And it's mind-blowing, even what he's saying. But I think what's more mind-blowing is the fact that God relents from disaster. Not just, he doesn't just hold back from punishing Nineveh. He holds back from punishing Jonah. But Jonah maybe is a little obtuse to realize what God is doing even with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's often true for us.
Yeah.
That we are quick to look at what God does or who God works with, or these different aspects of God, but we're usually reluctant to look at ourselves.
Yeah.
A lot of our traditions of faith teach us a holy reverence for God, to respect him, to honor him, to glorify him. And I don't, like, just in case I'm not like
to be clear,
just to be clear, I'm not disparaging
reverence for God, good thing.
I think what's interesting though, and again, this is made a little more stream of conscious.
Yeah.
When we talk about God, we speak of God as the Father and the Son and the Spirit. And it's like when you think about God the Father, and I don't want to draw such a big distinction, but like I think a lot of that, it's like Isaiah 6, he's, holy, he's far removed, he's high above, he's, almighty.
Yeah.
But when you think about the Son, not that he's any less worthy of honor and glory, and he has a name that is above every other name, but he came and tabernacled amongst us. He came near, and he is our sympathetic advocate and high priest, because he knows what it's like. And I think why that's so important, because it gives us like opportunity to wrestle with him. Like if I can go on a little side note, like favorite story of wrestling in scripture, is probably maybe the most notable one is Jacob. Wrestles with God all night long.
Literally.
Literally, I will not let you go until you bless me. So the Lord's like, okay, but you're going to live your life with a limp. And I think that's such an incredible picture of that Jacob wrestles with God.
It's wild. It's a wild story.
All night. I mean, them dudes, like they're strong men.
He would have went D1.
Yeah, like wrestling with someone, that's tiring.
Yeah, bro, you wrestle with someone for 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gassed.
You're done.
I'm worn out. I mean, like all night.
Yeah.
And that God lets him wrestle all night. In the moment where, it's time for God to go, he blesses him. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'll be careful how I say this, but to some degree, even Jesus the Son wrestles with God the Father in the garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's any way possible, can it?
Yeah.
Yet not my will, but yours be done. Like, it's short, it's sweet, but is that not wrestling?
So that was one of the things that I was gonna say was like, wrestling doesn't mean that you abandon reverence.
Yeah.
That you can
That's good.
That's
a quotable.
For your relationship with God, like the same thing with our children, right? Our children, I think children act, it's like 400% worse around mom than they do anybody else because they feel the safest around mom at a young age.
Yeah.
And so you are your worst self around who you are safest with.
Wow.
And now there's a level where that crosses a line of disrespect. If you do it publicly. Or if you do it in a not safe place. And I think what I see constantly in the scriptures is this wrestling with God, but in a reverent setting. So in the garden, in the tent, these are private settings where he's not disrespecting God amongst masses, right? You're not yelling at God outside of your car on the pulpit, right? I think that's where it can abandon reverence, but that we should feel safe enough to be like, God, this is like, there's no point in acting like, that I feel this way, so let's just hash it out. I think that there's a way for us to do that maybe people just haven't been discipled to.
I man, I mean, I'd say keep going, because you hit some really good things there. I think the thing you said, two things you said, like we can reverently wrestle.
Yeah.
I think that's a good word. I think that's a helpful way to look at it. But I think what you just said, the last thing you said, like it's not been brought into our discipleship. And I think part of where I struggled in my discipleship has in relationship to this is that like so continuing your theme, like, someone you're wrestling with, if it's not a foe, right? If it's and we're not calling God a foe.
Yeah.
Usually the people that you're wrestling with are those who you're closest with.
That's right.
Buddies, brothers, friends, whatever. And so I think it's like when we understand like the wrestling dynamic is a part of our discipleship because it's a part of our just communing with God.
Yeah.
I think it does give room for vulnerability, for authenticity.
Yeah.
That I think, speaking of manhood, like it's not been modeled well.
Yeah.
And thankfully Scripture models it well for us.
Yeah.
Jacob is a very successful man. He's a very entrepreneurial, cunning, strategic, strong, faithful man. But yet he wrestles vulnerably with God. So I think like a passage like this and other examples shows us that like wrestling in and of itself is not violating like your
you
contract
don't
with
God.
Yeah, we're definitely not threatening God. And even God's response to Jonah feels very like paternal.
Totally.
Like
I love it.
like Jonah, like like really, like you can just see God, like and another great example, and I'll just mention is Job. Like all Job is like Job wrestling with God.
Yeah.
And really, if anybody was allowed to,
it was
other
Job.
than Jesus,
it's Job.
It's Job.
And honestly, in a different way, God kind of says the same thing to Job. Like, were you there when I did this? Were you there when that happened? Like, really, Job?
Yeah.
Like, really, Jonah? So I think that said, though, in a good way, like those are moments where on the other side of you yelling at God, on the other side of me like being like, really, this is what it is. It allows us to voice something that we've been holding on to. And when we voice it, either directly or indirectly to the Lord, it lets us get past it. And on the other side of that, there's a lot of grace. But it's hard, though.
Isn't it healthy, though? I mean, people pay a lot of money to therapists to be able to say to that therapist what they haven't been able to say to God or anybody else.
And I think there's a place for counseling and therapy.
For sure.
But I think if that counseling and therapy leads you to that place with the Lord, it's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
I think
it's not a supplement, or it's not
like
a
you've got to
replacement
have a
meal
moment
for it. Yeah.
Like you've got to have a moment where you wrestle with God, or moments, or like it is foundational, and I would even say formational to our maturity.
Oh, that's good.
And if there's any pushback, I'm like, Jesus himself demonstrated. It's short and sweet, but it's a proper, healthy, reverent, honoring wrestling with the Lord.
Yeah.
He did it. Like is it possible? Is there any other way? I am sorrowful unto death. I don't, I would, humanly speaking, not want to do this.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, because he's the perfect Son of God, not your will but mine be done. That is wrestling in its best form, in its most beautiful form.